Hey everybody, this is Seth Keeping It Real here at the Big Apple. And as you can see, I set this up intentionally so you can see where I am. You will not see buildings this big in Austin, Texas. There's some big buildings out there, but not like this. And when I told one of my business partners here in New York City that we're on the 16th floor and how cool it was to walk out on the balcony and look down, he said, the 16th? How about the 60th? He said, you haven't seen nothing yet. So, Christine, great to see you, and thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Seth, and thanks for sharing your New York trip with me. I love watching it through the screen.
It's cool because I know you've lived in New York for how long now?
I've lived most of my life in New York, and I've lived in different regions of the state. And I did live about a year or so in Manhattan about 20 years ago.
Okay. So I wonder if it's changed much, but I know it was still big, huge city back then. Yesterday we got on the ferry. We were going to try to run up the Statue of Liberty. It's got like 300 and some steps, but I guess you have to book that a month in advance, and I didn't know that, so we just did the ferry going around, but it was incredible. It's like, everything here, it feels like Austin on steroids. It's kind of like Los Angeles, and that's the part where my wife and I feel like we really blend in. Like, for example, we went to Whole Foods, and we're standing there at the checkout line, and we were talking and checking things out and just kind of having a conversation. And then I asked this question. I said, where do you think we live? I tried to keep it as objective as I can. And her response was, oh, you're probably a few blocks north. And my wife and I looked at each other and we said, yes, we are really blending, because we were waiting for that, tourist thing on our forehead. But apparently, and I think the reason we blend in well is because we lived in Los Angeles for so many years. So to be in a mixed culture, different people from different places in the world, different languages, feels natural. The difference, though, is I feel like life here is faster and it never sleeps. There's always something going on in New York. Like last night we went to Broadway. It was amazing.
That was my favorite impression when I lived there when I was younger, is I had an apartment on 2nd Avenue, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and roll over, and my bed was by the window. Yeah. And I would look out the window and it would just be a sea of taxis at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And it just made me feel like, I'm in the world and the world is still functioning. Even though I'm sleeping, the world is still going. And there was a very comforting feeling to me to sort of feel like you're in the center of everything.
Yeah. And you're walking down the street and there's all these people. I mean, on a regular day in New York, it looks like Austin during South by Southwest. A long time ago when I drove for Uber in order to pay off my car, and I remember driving in South by Southwest, I would see hundreds of people going across the street. I mean, just a ton. Well, last night it was like that on a regular night. So I love that part. I love the sense of energy, and you're walking down the street and you hear this lady on her phone. She's like, speaking a completely different language you never heard. Then someone else speaking another language. Then someone else speaking in English. And this one guy's got this cool turban. Like, it's amazing. So if you've never been to New York, you don't really get it until you come here and actually experience it. It is like nothing else. And this is the joy of what Christine and I get to do. As you guys can see, she's sitting in a coffee shop doing what she loves. I'm here in New York. I'm still working, but I'm also having time with my wife and my kids doing what I love. That's the beauty of Amazon. It gives you margin and the freedom to do the things you love with the people you love. That is what attracts me to Amazon the most. And Christine, I'm still convinced that Amazon is the fastest, easiest way to build income legitimately and passively more than any other platform in the world. Now that could change someday, but the way it's moving is that's becoming more and more and more of a reality. And guys, that's why I'm so excited to interview Christine today. This interview is gonna be a little different. It's a case study. We're gonna get right into it. And thank you guys for your patience while we do introductions and talk about the Big Apple. We are going to talk about how Christine went from zero capital, okay? I mean, I started off easier than her. I had a dime, okay? She started, at least I had 10 cents. She had no capital for this. She also had her full-time consulting business as an entrepreneur. And having already been an entrepreneur was a huge advantage because she knows what it's like to get yourself out of bed and to make yourself work when you don't feel like it. And that drive that you need to be an entrepreneur, you don't have someone telling you what to do. She has to be her own boss. She also does copywriting on the side. So she was already busy. It's not like she just stopped everything, had this big fat savings account and pulled money from it to start. And if you're doing that, there's nothing wrong with that. What I like about Christine's story is she had zero experience, zero money. And now she's doing 4,000 total revenue per month on one product. Now, to be fair, that's not profit. Profit is a portion of that, okay? So we are all about keeping it real. We're not going to blow up the numbers and try to make you think, oh, it's more than it is. But still, 4,000 revenue, even if 30% of that is profit, that's coming in passively. And Christine, here's my first question. How many minutes a day or a week do you actually work on this product now, the one that's selling? Truly, realistically, what is it like?
I would have to say on this product, I probably work maybe an hour a week. And that work is divided between checking my sales and communicating with customers, reordering stock, talking with suppliers, and I still assemble my own products and send them into FBA. So every couple weeks, I'll spend like 2 hours in my warehouse doing that.
So 1 hour.
It's absolutely an amount of time that you could do like on the weekend.
Yeah. Okay. So think about that, guys. 1 hour a week. If you knew you could spend 1 hour a week working on a product, and that would generate you, let's just say, what, if you don't mind me asking, what is your profit margin? 30%, 40%, 50%?
I am at 41%.
Okay, so she's around 1,600 margin net, okay? That's what she's making. If you were able to get a paycheck, $1,600 every month, and it took you an hour of work a week to do that, would you do it? I mean, now let me share something else. Obviously, it didn't start this way. At the beginning, Christine had to bust her ass and work super hard to get to that point. She had to spend a lot of time to get to this point, but that's the beauty. Once you've built it up and it starts selling, to get $1,600 every month for an hour of, that's 4 hours a month. And then we'd have to add on the extra every couple weeks when she has to put her inventory together. So even if that was 5 hours a month or 6 hours a month, that's amazing. That's a very, very high wage. Like most employers would not ever even dream of paying you that. That's why I love Amazon. But here's the problem most people run into. How do you get to that point? And that's where I really want to focus. So first, let me just jump into the chat here, and I want to say hello to everyone. And then we're going to go into very specific questions. How did Christine do this? And guys, feel free to ask questions. The majority of this time, I'm going to just be asking questions to Christine because I want to provide as much content as we can. And then if we do have time for some questions at the end, we will. But after this, I have to drive to another city to meet with a business partner for a new Amazon store, which I'm really excited about. And that's, again, the joy of Amazon, guys. I'm in New York. I'm doing business. I'm talking with Christine. I'm learning from and with a business partner. I'm hanging out with my best friend, my wife, and my kids. That's the joy of building passive income. That's why I would never replace this life for anything. I'm not saying it's always easy. Sometimes it is really hard, but it is so worth it because it's fulfilling. Everyone's going to have a hard life at some point. The question is, do you want fulfilling hard or unfulfilling hard? You know what was so hard about working for a corporation? I wasn't satisfied. I was not living life on the edge. I was not living to my maximum potential. I was so cramped into this tiny little box. I felt like this, and I'm supposed to be out there doing something bigger and more free and taking more risk. And now I get to do that. Like literally standing here with this behind me in Manhattan. And this is not some boast, guys, but you know how expensive it is to stay here for a week? It's a lot of money, but that's not an issue anymore. Thank you, Amazon. Okay, so I want to say hello to everyone here. Larry in Boston, great to see you, brother, and I'm going to see you in a couple days. In fact, for those of you guys who are just one-dime clients, today's Tuesday. In 2 days, we're going to meet at a restaurant. And if you didn't know about this, make sure you do this. And if you're not a just one-dime client, join our team first, and you can be there. Then we get to talk. I'm going to be there for 2 hours. Whoever wants to come by can come by. I would love to meet you. So we got people here from North Carolina. Hello, Stephanie. Gregory from Denver. Hey, Gregory. Sorry, Miss Claudia from Denver. I apologize. Hey, Miss Claudia. Gourmets and Lunches, Trinidad. Nice, good to see you in Toboka. David from Arizona. Reem from Kuwait. How are you, brother? Ali from Florida. North Carolina. Steph from North Carolina. Cleo used to live in New York City. Perfect background. Thank you. This was intentional. I want you guys to see. Like, this is actually a fake background. I'm joking. This is real. That'd be really funny if this is like a fake background. And let me just prove it to you guys. I don't know if they'll let me open this door. I don't think they'll let me open it because there is literally no guardrail. That would be very bad. Okay, I will continue to say hello to everyone. Dave, I know exactly where Riverside is. I used to drive down there when I lived in Santa Clarita. North Stowe, I'll be in Las Vegas in March. A whole bunch of Just One Dime Warriors going to be there. Nick, Santa Monica is beautiful. Let's see. Nick Harris, great to see you. Good to see you guys. So many people here. Okay, cool. Well, hey guys, we want to make this super helpful for you. So what we're going to do, Ari from Israel, I love it. We have a lot of Israelis on our team. I love that. Marco from Italy, thank you so much. And really glad you are here today. Toronto, yes. Slovenian, awesome. Cali, California. I lived in Los Angeles for years. Germany, sprechen Sie Deutsch. I know just a little bit of German. I actually am German by blood. Abduli Haddad from Morocco and Estonia. And people from Vancouver. Christine, the whole world wants to know how you did it.
Well, thanks, Seth. You know, I want to make a quick comment about location because I think that that's another benefit of working on Amazon is that it doesn't matter where you are. Now, I'm in New York, but I'm actually in a very small city in New York, way up north near the Canadian border.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of job opportunity here. There's not a lot of local business. One of the reasons I'm in this coffee shop is because it's one of the few locally owned businesses around that I can patronize, and I like to do that.
Yeah.
But your income potential on Amazon is not in any way based on where you are or where you live. You don't have to move to Manhattan, the center of the universe, by the way, in order to, you know, make things happen. You can stay in your quiet, sleepy Midwestern town that I've never heard of, and it's okay, and you can be great. And I'm trying so hard not to be so New York centric, but I have grown up my entire life being New York centric, and I'm trying to realize it.
Austin is still my favorite city, but I will tell you, my wife and I strongly considered buying a place here to come here in the summer. People told me it was hot in here. Guys, it's 80 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not hot. You live in Austin. For those of you guys in Austin right now, it's so hot there. You walk out, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna melt. Oh man, you feel like the Wicked Witch of the West when she got the water poured on her. We just saw Wicked last night at Broadway. Okay, so wow. It is true. It doesn't matter where you live. We have people here from Ukraine, Colorado. And I'm going to, Harsha asked a great question. So I'm actually going to start with this, then we'll go to the questions that I have written down I want to ask you. Christine, how much money, and Harsha Punjabi, thank you for asking this question, it's a great question. How much money realistically is needed to start with a, and that's a question, but Christine, what are your thoughts realistically?
Let me just tell you a quick story about my budget from the beginning of this project for me.
Sure.
I actually started before the Just One Dime group. I started with one-on-one coaching with Seth. And I had coached with him on a different topic. And then I said, what is this Amazon thing you're doing? Maybe I should do this. And so I didn't know if I should do it. I didn't care. I didn't know about selling stuff on Amazon. It wasn't something I was into. As Seth mentioned, I have a consulting business, so I was running my own business. I'm a freelance writer, so I had my own projects, and I thought, Amazon, well, that's not, selling stuff is not really my business goal.
Right.
And so I had talked to my sister about this opportunity, and basically what I ended up doing was she lent me the money to pay for the coaching because she said, boy, this sounds like it could be a good idea. And I said, well, you know, I don't have, you know, money sitting around to do this. So I actually borrowed the money to pay for the coaching and then pieced together the money for, you know, the startup. The startup part of the business wasn't terribly expensive. Buying the first product, I borrowed some more money from my sister to buy my first product and, you know, get things going. So it was really a nickel and dime operation. What I was doing was siphoning money out of my normal monthly income and spending it immediately on, you know, another 100 units of product, or, you know, gee, oh my gosh, I got to buy a logo. So, all right, well, Friday I could pay for it, and I would, you know, grab some money out of my account and pay for it. So, you know, I really think that from start to being up and running with one product, I think realistically, you're probably looking at, I want to say $4,000 to $5,000 but you don't have to have it now or at the beginning to get going.
Comes in stages. First,
Exactly.
with this part, I had someone email me the other day, said, how much does it cost to set up an LLC? Well, that depends on a lot of things. It might cost you $500 at the most, $245 on the lower end if you're in the US, depending on your state. But you don't need that immediately. You can start as a sole proprietor and get that money later. Well, wait, but Seth, how much does it cost to trademark? Well, that's going to be anywhere from $500 to $1,600, again, depending on how many categories you want to get trademarked for. You don't have to do that immediately. You can get a product going, then use the profit from that to pour into your trademark. So you don't need all the money up front. So here's a question then, Christine. How much money did you need or did you spend on your first shipment of your first product that is now making you $4,000 revenue, around $1,600, 40% profit per month? What was the total money you needed, including shipping, for that first piece of inventory? Because this question is being asked. I think it's a really great question.
I'm going to kind of guess off the top of my head because I don't have that number exactly in front of me. But I would say that was about $2,000, $2,500.
Okay, so
you know, and again, that's something you can control. You know, you choose a product that doesn't cost as much. You order a small batch, and you see how it goes. You see how it works.
right.
So, you know, I could see doing it for less.
Yeah, the lowest I've ever seen is someone do it for $500, and they were doing it on DHgate, where the shipping is often free. The individual per product price is higher, and they were doing a small batch, and they had done their market research and study, and they really wanted to use it to get the listing going. So the profit margins are much smaller. That was the lowest I've ever seen, Christine, someone do it. $2,000, $2,500 is very reasonable. If you're getting a more expensive product, it could be up to $4,000. So you do need a chunk of money no matter what to get it going, to get it started. For that first, that's your biggest expense, guys. Bigger than in most coaching services. Some are way more expensive than ours. But usually the biggest expense is that first chunk of inventory. Okay, so there's really good questions here, and I want to respond to Arthur Martian. He has a comment. He says, joining the Just One Dime team may mean that you, Seth, will have to travel across the nation to the West Coast and have a meet and greet at Discovery Bay. Okay, so here's my promise to you, Arthur. I will be in California, and I will create a meetup opportunity in California for anyone who's Just One Dime. I can't promise when, but I will do that. And I can promise I have confidence because my goal is to continue to have these groups all over the world, and then our big conferences in Las Vegas. And eventually we're gonna have little mini conferences, and different coaches who live different places can be there to teach as well. So we can actually meet and talk and handshake and talk about Amazon, and just it's so much more real to actually see someone in person. I mean, right now I'm, let's say I'm 3 inches by 4 inches on your screen. Who knows? I could just be a phantom, all you know. No, I'm just joking. So another question that came up was, does that $4,000 to $5,000 startup include the Just One Dime training, or was that just product advertising? So Christine, when you mentioned $4,000 to $5,000 to start all in everything, were you including the cost of the coaching program, or were you not including that?
Well, in my mind, I was including it, but when I bought my coaching, that was a long time ago, and the prices are different. So I don't know how, if you were to buy it today, I'm not exactly sure how that figures in. So.
Yeah. And just to give you guys clarity on something for everyone here, this is going to sound like a plug. I want you to know because you asked. We'll move on to the questions. The coaching we do includes 4.5 hours of live coaching a week for a year. There's no coaching program I know out there that does that. It's probably the most unique thing we offer. Plus, you get reviews on your product that are legitimate, that are also purchase verified, because you didn't use a discount code to do it. So you also get that. But if you break it down, it ends up being like around 100 to 120 per month if you buy the year bundle. So from that perspective, you're talking very low cost. Unless you do the monthly, it's more expensive, but you don't have as much upfront capital. Okay, now here's what we're gonna do, guys. I am going to go through questions sequentially. I want to imagine you're starting your Amazon store, and Christine, how did you do it from the beginning to the end? So here's my first question. And I think Itishri asked this question, so thank you as well. How did you find your first product? What was the steps of methodology you went through to find it?
Okay, so I used the software tool Amazo. as Seth taught me to use it. I used the free version. I still use the free version, by the way. And I went through it. I looked at a ton of products. My theory was that when you use that, it's kind of like the one-arm bandits when you go gambling. You know, you press the button and you see what comes up, and then nothing comes up. You press the button again and you see what comes up. So I did this for a while. In fact, I called my sister. I said, hey, help me out. You like to gamble. Do this on your computer. Just do this and keep pressing this button. And when it brings up stuff, send me the list of stuff it brings up, and then I'll do the follow-up research from there. Because I don't like to gamble, and I found that frustrating. So I found a number of products that hit certain data points, and then I went through them. And Seth and I kind of talked through some of them and say, well, what about this and what about that? And there were certain things that were eliminated. There were things I didn't know anything about. I said, well, I don't know anything about that product, so nah. Or this one is too complicated, has too many moving parts. I wouldn't know where to start. So I ended up, my first product is actually made of fabric. And I happen to be an experienced seamstress. And so the idea of dealing with fabric made sense to me. Like, I felt like I'm
going to jump in real quick. This is a really good point. I don't want to miss it. So back to the question, Tricia, that you asked. She used previous knowledge she had about a certain product, and she picked something that she had familiarity with, which made it easier for her to be confident about the product she wanted to be built because she already had fabric knowledge. Back to you, Christine.
And so that fabric knowledge allowed me to talk with suppliers and be very specific about what I wanted done and how I wanted it done. And then later on in the process, when I actually saw the first product produced, I was able to, I could look at it and say, okay, this was a quality job. If there was a problem, I could send it back and say, no, do it this way, not that way, because I know how to sew. So that's how I found my product. And honestly, along the way, yeah, I had a lot of doubt, is this right? Is this right? At some point, you kind of draw a line and say, okay, I'm all in. This is the one I'm going with.
Right, because if you think about something too long, you'll think yourself out of doing it, especially if you are, I don't know how many of you guys saw the 4 personality videos we created. There's the entertainer, there's the feeler, there's the director, and there's the thinker. A lot of you guys, you're super analytical, which is great, and you're always asking questions and questions and questions. The challenge is, at some point, you need to just do it. You cannot wait forever and keep saying, are these wings going to fly? Are they going to fly? Are they going to fly? Let's test them again. At some point, you need to jump and fly. And you might even crash a few times, and you might have to build a few more wings on the way down. But at some point, you have to pull the trigger. And if I can guess, Christine, you're definitely director type, but you're also a thinker type, because you really do analyze stuff a lot, which is great. But sometimes you need that push. I remember saying, Christine, just go do it now. Like, you have to trust the process at some point. And you're right. You never know for sure if a product's going to sell. No one ever does. And if anyone tells you that, oh, by the way, this product is the perfect product, it's going to make you money, they're lying out of their teeth. They're not God. They don't know that. What we do is use research methods to de-risk you as much as possible. Okay, so when you found that product, how did you know there was demand? How did you know there wasn't too much competition for that product when you launched it, Christine?
This is something that I can't stress enough, and I kind of learned it backwards, because as much as I am analytical, I don't like statistics and I don't like numbers. I have that sort of feeling side to me. And especially things made of fabric, they're soft, they're touchy, it's about a feeling. I had a feeling. Right. I went with the research. What the research told me, that's what I went with. And there were times in the process where I thought to myself, I don't even like this product, but it doesn't matter. It's selling. I remember showing it to my family. Hey, check this out. And they were kind of like, okay, all right. I said, forget about what the product itself is, or if you like it, or if you would buy it. Yes. The numbers said, and Seth said that the numbers were right for this. Yep. And so it was up to me then to make it happen within those financial parameters. Yeah.
One time, Christine, when for fun, my friend, he had a birthday. He said for his birthday, he wanted to jump out of an airplane with a parachute on, and he wanted me to do it with him. So I said, sure. So we were in Texas. We drove south to this very flat area, and this plane, it's small, and there's no door. Like, it's just an opening, and you get in, and it goes up, and it's got those propellers, and it's really loud. And once you're up 10,000 feet, you just go, oh my goodness, if I could do this. And I remember the instructor said, make sure when you go out, I don't remember how he did it now. Was it backwards or forwards? I can't remember, but what I do remember is we did a somersault. When you go out, you immediately do a somersault, and then you go straight. And then first you're falling really fast. Small parachute comes out, and it slows you down from 200 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour. Then a bigger parachute comes out and slows you down even more. Because if you don't have that small parachute, and you just have the big parachute come out, it'll your parachute falling down. I had to move my trust from me to the instructor. And guys, you have to do the same thing with Amazon. You have to move your trust from you and having and if you're a control freak, you're going to have to let go a little bit, okay? To the research, the numbers. Let the numbers tell you. Christine was not in love with the product. Her family was not in love with the product. It doesn't matter. If you're trying to make money, who cares what you think about your product? No offense, but who cares? Because you're not the person paying you. The customer's going to pay you. What matters is what they think. So,
and I'll tell you what the biggest payback is when somebody tells you they don't like your product. When you get to go back to them a couple months later and say, yeah, but it's selling like hotcakes.
Right.
Like, hey, there you go. I made the right choice.
Right. Right. Exactly. And that's another way you can do this too, guys. Sorry about the shaky computer. Is when you find a product that is selling a lot on Amazon, you know there's demand. What Christine did is she made her product better, and that's how she's getting sales. And that's my next question. So you knew there was demand because it was selling like crazy. And yes, guys, Amazo, in my opinion, is the best tool for that. I love Amazo. However, that tool tells me, okay, this thing is making, this product category, this keyword. Let's just say I was putting in, I don't know what kind of green color this is, but a green teacup, because I'm drinking tea right now. Let's just say it was, doing $9,000 a day for all the strong competitors for this product. Okay, so I put in green teacup, and I notice the total is $9,000 of revenue per day. Amazo tells me that information. That's information I can use to trust it as high demand. This is what Christine did. But here's the problem. Why would someone buy my teacup instead of someone else's? So that's my next question, Christine. And you don't have to give away your product, and I don't recommend you do it, but just tell us, like, technically, what did you do to make your product better? Why would I buy your product instead of someone else's that's already been selling for 3 months?
Well, in hindsight, it was easy. At the time, it was not easy because, again, you have to sort of go on faith that what I've learned is the truth, is the right thing. But I read the reviews, and there weren't too many negative reviews, but of course I focused in on those. And so those had to do with the actual design. And I thought, this is simple. I make my own specs. I call the supplier and say, I want it to be this big and this long, this wide, so that I could then advertise it as, hey, it's going to be, long enough, wide enough, big enough. And then the other thing I did was I looked for something that was missing. I looked for something that would go with the product that was missing. And my product happens to be a gift. And nobody else was selling it with a gift box. And I thought, if I'm buying this product and I'm going to go give it as a gift at this party, I want it to be, if it came in a box, I could just slap a bow on it and head off to the party.
Yeah.
So I worked really hard to get the gift box involved and then get the cost of the box down and the size of the box and all of that. But I think ultimately that really is what made the difference. And still, none of the competitors are offering a box. And I checked this morning, and I'm top seller.
That's awesome. Did you guys hear that? So other people started first. They're making money. Christine enters. She gives up $2,000, $2,500 to a supplier. We'll talk about that in a minute. She makes her product better. Now she's the top seller. How did she do that? She found a need no one else was meeting. Where do you find that? How do you get that information? Well, one way is you read the reviews of your competitors. One of the easiest ways to differentiate your product. This is the #1 method my wife and I use to build wealth on Amazon. It has helped us more than anything else. We did this before we understood anything about PPC ad campaigns. Long before that. Before we even tried to get reviews, we did one thing. We found the weakness of the competitors. We made our our product better? Let me give you a very simple example. If everyone keeps complaining about this being too small because, you know, people with bigger fingers can't comfortably hold it. In fact, this is kind of uncomfortable when I think about it. Like, that's not comfortable. Well, you just make a bigger handle. That's a simple example of how you make your product better. It's differentiation, and you're building. And where do you find that information? You read the critical/negative reviews of the top competitors. So you do everything they do well, but you do what they don't do well, and therefore you're going to win. Now, some people say, well, it's saturated. How do I know? It's not saturated, and here's how I know. In fact, I had another Amazon coach ask me the same question. How do you know Amazon isn't too saturated? 2 reasons. Number one, more and more people are buying on Amazon. It's not saturated. Something's saturated when people stop buying. When the supply and the demand are not like this. When they get like this, it's saturated. Guess what, guys? It's only going like this. Now, is the competition increasing? Yes. That's why you should get someone who knows what they're doing to coach you. Doesn't have to be me. Could be someone else. Find a coach who can help you beat the competition. That's what Christine did. Now, here's something that blows my mind, Christine. You did this with one product. You're doing $1,600 a month on that product. You could do this with 10 products. You could do this with 20 products. In fact, someone asked this question, when will you launch your new product? How do you know when's the right time to do that? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think there's actually a very simple answer for that question. And it comes back to those things I don't like, the numbers. When you can afford to buy and restock another product while maintaining the one that's already selling, that's what you do. And I learned that through our coaching, through our group. I was actually getting ready to drop this product because it was expensive to restock. And I thought, well, if I keep restocking that, then I can't buy my next product. And I'm so excited to do my next product. Right. And somebody sat me down and said, all right, let's just go over this. So you have a product and it's selling and making money on Amazon. And you want to stop doing that?
I know who that person was, and he's an awesome, I'm not going to mention him, but he's awesome, and I know exactly what you're talking about. It is very good advice.
I think of him every day every time I restock that product, and I think, well, yeah, duh, what was I thinking?
That's one thing, guys, I love about the Just One Dime community. Of course, I'm going to brag on it because it's my community, but you know what? I am inspired. I am encouraged. Do you hear what she said? Someone who's not a coach. They don't have some official even position. They just sat down and said, look, Christine, let me help you. And it kept her going. And now she's doing $1,600 a month in profit, $4,000 revenue. That's insane. So to answer the question then, once you take those profits and you put them back into the next product. So that's another challenge, guys. If at all possible, pour all your profits back into your business. The faster and sooner you can do that, the sooner you will build wealth. And then suddenly money is not an issue. It's no longer a survival issue. It's a management issue. It's not like, okay, do I have enough to pay my mortgage this month? It's now, okay, there's a big chunk of money here. Where's the best way to put it to go to work for me and to keep building these things up? You see the difference, you guys? And you can do that.
You know what, Seth, that is such an important point too, because I remember when I started this, I was in a hurry. I'm gonna sell right away. 1 month out, I'm gonna be selling. I'm gonna make, and part of why I was in a hurry was because I wanted that money to spend it. I wanted to pay my bills. I wanted to do things with that money. And what I've learned is that if you just slow that down and because with that kind of mentality, the money's gonna come in and go out and come in and go out, and you're just never gonna feel like you're actually making a profit.
Right.
But once you take the time and reinvest it, push off taking that money out of your business a little bit longer, it compounds. Then, yes, you get to take it and you actually have something. You're not just sending it right back out the door.
Yeah. Inside the Bind said, how many hours of upkeep do you need to put in a product that makes you $1,600 once it's already selling? So, and you might have missed the first part of the interview. She does a few hours a week. What was the exact number? I forget the number, Christine.
I think I said it was like about an hour a week, and then every 2 weeks there's like a 2-hour block where I get into my warehouse.
Okay. So think a few hours a week, $1,600 a month. But keep in mind, inside the Bind, she didn't start that way. She had to start working really hard, many hours, to get it going, to find the product, to find the supplier, to figure out how to make the supplier build the product to differentiate it, to get it shipped to the US, to get it sent into Amazon FBA, and then to get it going and optimize it, and then PPC ads, which you don't have to do, but you can to promote it as well. So it didn't start that way, but today that's where she is. Now she has all this margin, it's making money over here, now she can go over here and do another product or do other things. And I know Christine, Amazon isn't her only source of income. She does other things. She does copywriting, she does coaching, she does other things that she does. So she really has options. She can pick where she wants to put her time. Again, freedom. I love this quote. I'm gonna probably skew it a little bit, but it basically says this: the middle class are always looking for comfort. The wealthy are looking for freedom. If you build wealth, you will have both comfort and freedom. Okay, I'm gonna jump to some questions here. Yeah, no problem coming in late. I totally understand, it's fine. Columbia, good to see you. Veronica, Ryan, yep, we answered that question. Someone says he's selling on eBay good items that I see many people buy it, sell the item cheap, makes a good, there's a Photoshop, no one buys it. Yeah, that is a whole nother platform. We could talk about it. Some of the principles overlay, but I'm focusing primarily on Amazon here in this conversation. It's a training, not a case. Let's see, hi from PA, stuff is skilled interviewer. Yeah, I think this is a training. It is more of a, I guess it is training. If you prefer a case study, I don't know. I just want to ask the questions to help you guys out. I really don't care about the technicalities. MRSERGIUO1. If it's helping you, that's what I hope. How many sales a day is she pulling? How many sales a day are you making, Christine, on your product, on average?
I've been watching my sales at around 100 a week. That's my and my product is actually in a kind of small niche market.
Right.
So at about 100 a week, I topped 100 a week last week, and I've had some other bumps, but that's pretty much. I started out at, I mean, when you first start, you're lucky that you make one a day,
right? And
then it compounds. So I sort of I plateaued maybe around 70 a week, and I'm now have grown up to 100 a week.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it wasn't like this, guys. It was a process. She worked it. And sales were like this. I remember the process. So it takes time. Mr. Sergio says, I just don't like tricks. Dude, I used to be a magician and I'm really good at tricks, but this, I promise you, was not a trick. I'm trying to help you build Amazon income. If that's what you want, be here. That's what we're trying to help you do. No problem, fishing veteran. Jigar Patel, what is great fan of your energy? What do you eat? I drink black tea and I love what I do. I exercise. Hey, if I can brag a little bit, the other day I worked out with my sons. We did a full leg workout and then we ran up 16 flights of stairs all the way up to here and we were dying. That's how I get energy. I work out hard, I eat healthy, and what I do has purpose. I love what I do. And I'll give you one more tip. And this is gonna sound super altruistic and it may sound arrogant and it's not meant to be that way. I like helping people. I legitimately enjoy it. I'll give you an example. It brings me joy to serve my wife, to serve my kids, to serve people on the team. I enjoy that. I also like making money. I like both. And both of those bring me energy. If I'm just a taker, guess what? I won't make money and I'll be very unhappy. If I'm a giver and help, like right now, it gives me joy. Almost every time I finish one of these case studies, interviews, I go tell my wife, man, that was so fun. I could do this all day. I enjoy this. And so that's what gives me energy. Okay, so back to the questions. Let's see. How did you decide on what category to sell in, Christine?
Well, again, that wasn't easy. There's a lot of good stuff out there. And as far as I could tell, whatever category I searched in, I came up with some, good products. I kind of was focusing near kitchen because it's something that, again, I'm familiar with. And I feel like my product ended up being kind of a hybrid. It is an item that you might use in the kitchen, but it's also a gift item that you would probably buy for someone else rather than buying it for yourself. So I didn't find the category to be all that important, honestly, in the end.
It's funny because a lot of people, it's not just categories, it's products too. A lot of people, they're looking for the magical product or the magical category. Like, tell me what category to sell in, I'll make money. You know, like, hey, you know, someone says recommends electronics, someone else says don't. Guys, you can sell in any product category and be successful. Some are easier than others, and the easier ones will have more competition, which means you can get in easier, but it'll take you longer to make money. And the other ones that are harder have less competition. Therefore, it's gonna be harder to get started. It's gonna take more inventory, more money, more time. But once you get going, there's less competition competing with you. So there's always a give and take. Here's how life works, and I've seen it 100 times. You can sacrifice more now and more later, or you can sacrifice less now. You see what I mean? And it'll take you longer to win more. And you have to balance that. It's kind of like money. If you have a lot of money, you might invest a lot more so that you can make a lot more later. If you have a little bit of money, you're going to start out with an easier product. You won't make as much money off of it, but it'll get you to the point where you have more, you see? So don't worry too much about the category. Focus on what your resources are and what will work for you. And again, in Just One Dime, we teach you how to do that and how to think through that. We have an entire infographic on all the 4 different kinds of products in Amazon. 4. I'm not talking about the 40-some. There are 4 main that we've categorized. Some are easy to private label, a lot more competition. Some are difficult to private label, but less competition. And then some you can't private label, and some are gated. You can't private label until you're ungated. And so that can help a lot. Christine, back to you. What were some of the methods you used to make sure a supplier, the supplier you chose, is trustworthy? This is a huge fear for a lot of people. How do you know? I mean, think about it. I'm talking to someone around the world. I live in the US. I don't live in China. And how do I know I can trust them? Like, what did you do to make sure this is a supplier I'm willing to send my money to and trust that they're going to ship the products here to the US so I can sell on Amazon?
Well, you have to understand, I'm a New Yorker at heart, so I am suspicious of everyone.
Nice.
And, you know, and cautious. And especially since, you know, I was looking at spending money I didn't even really have. So protecting that money was really important to me. So I began by choosing suppliers from Alibaba who only had a certain level of rating. And you have to go through a lot of suppliers. You have to chat with a lot of suppliers before you hone in on the 1 or 2 you're going to deal with.
Right.
So I went through that process, and you know, some of them don't get back to you. Some of them get back to you with some crazy price, and you say, no, I'm not going to deal with you. And some of them seem really strict, and it's like, well, you know, if you're not going to, you know, alter your MOQ for me or something, then I can't deal with you. So ultimately, I kind of got a feel for a good communication style with someone, and I ordered product. I continued to develop that relationship. I'm actually on my 2nd supplier for this one product, and I'm on my 3rd supplier for the boxes I use for that product. And you know, it's kind of trial and error. I really liked the initial supplier. I liked the supply. I didn't really like the way it was packaged. They weren't like particular about it. My box supplier was so particular. I said, could you make my product too? Because you are like, everything is always perfect. And so that's what I did, and developed these relationships. And when you find a supplier that you like and you trust them and they do good work, you ask them, hey, do you know somebody down the street maybe who makes this other product, or who deals with plastic or paper or metal? Yeah. It's because they create a kind of a network. And I have suppliers that I really like, and if somebody asks me, hey, do you have somebody who makes boxes, I recommend them. And my suppliers know that. So you develop relationships just like in any other business.
Right. That's really cool. One thing that I think a lot of people are concerned about is when you, not just the product itself, is it good, but then how do I know the supplier is not a scam? So what would you do if it turned out they were a scam? Like, how do you protect yourself?
Well, first of all, I only send money overseas via PayPal. And I did actually have to put in a request to get my money back. I bought some samples from an unknown supplier, and I didn't like the way that deal was going at all. And finally, I had to go to PayPal, and I got my money back. It wasn't a lot of money, but still. So the system works. Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much the best way to protect yourself. I mean, at some point, if you're actually going to buy these products, you will have to send money to China, and they will have to send you products.
Yep.
Before I actually spent the money on the products, we talked about samples. I didn't actually order samples for some of my products. What I did was I had them make the samples and then send me a photograph. And I could tell from the photograph they were legitimate because they had what looked to me like people from their factory modeling my product. You know, the heads were cut off in the picture, so it wasn't personal. But I mean, I could tell that this wasn't a photo that they just pulled out of a file and sent to me.
Or a photo or Shutterstock, where they, I've seen some people do this, where they'll take a Shutterstock photo and put the product on top of it and try to make it look right. It doesn't look right, and you can tell it's been manipulated. Absolutely. So PayPal is one way. The other thing you guys can use too is trade assurance through Alibaba. It's very, very helpful because the money never goes to the supplier until you approve it. It goes into a third, it's escrow, kind of like when you buy a house. It goes into a third-party holding bank until you've approved and received the shipment and verified, then they get their money. And I found that to be very effective as well. Then it doesn't even matter what payment method you use because you're still protected. PayPal is very good. If there's an issue, you can open a case and say, look, I didn't get my product. Super effective. Okay, so I'm going to jump into some questions here. So King Gamisa asked a great question, guys. Do you recommend doing retail arbitrage first, then venturing into private label? Sorry if you already answered, came in late. I did not answer, and no problem. I'm glad you're here, brother. It depends. And it depends on two things, your capital and you. People who do retail arbitrage love finding deals, and they're doing a quick exchange to generate cash to build something bigger. If you're very limited on capital, I highly recommend you do retail arbitrage. Just One Dime has a complete course just devoted to that. And we have people teaching that who are doing a ton of money in retail, Amazon arbitrage, both online and retail. So online, as in you buy online, you send it to the prep center sends it to Amazon FBA. You don't even ever have to look at the product if you don't want to physically. Or retail, you go into Home Depot, you go into Walmart, you go into Walgreens, you buy it and you resell it, and again, you send it to Amazon FBA. So if you're limited on capital, you're really limited on cash, and you don't mind the bustle of going in and trying, and it's going to be a bunch of quick deals. Like you might buy 10 of one thing, then 100 of something, and 20 of something else. That's great. The challenge with arbitrage is it's not scalable long term. So if you need more cash, do that. It's a great way to start. It's way less expensive to start. But when you're building an online business like Christine, that $1,600 a month coming in every month, that profit, 4,000 revenue. You guys keep asking this question, so I'll answer it just so everyone knows. She's doing 4,000 on a product revenue. She's generating approximately 40% profit, net profit. So she's making $1,600 after expenses. Okay, so you can't do that with retail arbitrage. You can't just keep having 1,600 coming in. You have to keep going out and finding different products. That's the difference. So King Jamisa, probably gave you a longer answer than needed, but yeah. Craig Bond, good to see you, brother. Having started trying to sell a product before and it falling horribly, and Craig, I mean this in sincerity, I congratulate on it, because every time we fail, that makes us stronger. To have to get up after failure makes us a stronger person. I failed so many times. People who succeed fail more than people who don't. You have to fail to win. So I mean it in sincerity. I congratulate you in that, Greg. However, and this is a really good question, Greg, how do I work up the courage to use the criteria you've given and put it in my money, or put my money into it is what I think you mean, into another product? Ask people in the community in Just One Dime. Ask them please do. Go ahead.
I think that's a great question because I am part of this community and I interact with other people in the community, and that kind of doubt comes often with people who are just starting. And I had that doubt when I first started. And now through experience, I can say, hey, this is the real deal. Follow the rules and it will happen. And what I want to say to all of those new people is you paid for this. You paid for these rules. You paid, so then follow them.
Right.
If you're smarter, then why did you buy this?
That's true.
Go do it on your own.
It's an act of trust to say, hey, I'm going to invest in Just One Dime to help me. There's a reason you did that. You believe they can help me. follow through on that investment. Don't, otherwise you're wasting your money. Absolutely.
Exactly. And that's, I think, for entrepreneurs, I think that's like the number one rule. Don't waste your money. You
Right.
pay for something, use it,
Yeah, that's a good point. And talk to people, ask them what's working for them. It's a community for a reason. And for those of you guys who aren't in part of Just One Dime, it is not uncommon for one question to get a ton of answers within a few hours. I've seen it many times. It's incredible. The community is there to help you. And I'm not even referring to the 8 coaches who respond to questions as well. Okay, so how seasonal would you consider too seasonal? Is a little seasonal okay? Ari, yes, a little seasonal is okay. It depends. So for example, if you're selling Santa Claus toilet seat covers, that's extremely seasonal. I would only do that if you already have enough income and you just want to make a lot of money around Christmas time. I would not recommend that. Easter eggs, I wouldn't recommend that either. That's just during one time, March, April of the year for Easter Sunday. Something like swimming suits, there are places in if you're selling in the US where people swim all year round. That's less seasonal. Obviously sales are going to be higher in the summer. That's partially seasonal. So it depends on where you're selling. If you're selling in the UK, it's going to be different than the US, than Canada, than Germany, based on those markets. If you know your market, you will know the answer. So a little seasonal is okay, absolutely. Just understand it's going to be more like this versus the other way. I'll give you an example. Christine mentioned her product is great for a gift. I'm not going to say what it is, but I know it sells better, and tell me if I'm wrong, this Christine, around certain seasons and times of the year than others based on the occasion it's related to. Therefore, it's going to do that. In fact, let's just be real. Every product is seasonal to a point. Yeah. People drink more coffee in the winter than in the summer. So, at some point, everything's seasonal. Just don't be crazy about it and do something like a Halloween costume in springtime. You're probably not going to get big sales.
I think that the seasonal question is interesting because I think there are 2 different types of seasonal products. The seasonal product you're talking about, like the Christmas item, obviously it has demand in one season and then probably not much at the other. I'm kind of looking at maybe taking on something like that because my thought is that on top of the other things I'm doing, to have a short period of time where I hustle really hard and make a great income on that one product, and then the rest of the year, I just kind of, that product just coasts. I don't deal with it so much. Right. I think when you plan it, I think that works out really well. I think a lot of the other stuff that we think of as seasonal, like swimsuits and summertime things, you're right. The market for Amazon.com is in all different climates, and people go on vacation. So if it's winter where you are, you're going to buy a swimsuit and go somewhere where it's summer. So I think a lot of that stuff is no longer seasonal in a global market.
Yeah. There's that's a very good point. And if you're selling in multiple countries, which you also can do, that gives you a lot of leverage as well. Scott wants to know, do you do PPC, Christine? And this is one of my questions as well. Tell us about PPC. Tell us about the frustrations, because it is hard, especially at first, unless you have someone helping you with it. How has that been for you? How is it working for you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, let me tell you about PPC. Did I mention that I don't like statistics? They make my eyes cross. I've told Seth this 100 times before. And PPC is all about statistics. It's about collecting the data, knowing what to do to collect the data, knowing how to read that data, and then act on it. I finally got to the point where I appreciate that. And it's kind of fun now for me to look into my PPC campaign, read the data, and say, oh, I'm going to tweak this, and I bet I'll get a little bump out of that over here. Of course, everything is always more fun when it actually is working. When you're trying to make it work and it's not working, it's not fun at all. I would not sell a product without running PPC for 2 reasons. One, when you're first getting going, PPC helps you make your product visible. If your product is not visible, no one's going to buy it. I don't care how fabulous it is.
Right.
So it's good to use that in the beginning to get up there. Then once you're selling and people are seeing your product, I just like to, keep it out there. And at that point, the amount of money that you're spending on that PPC campaign is such a tiny percentage of what you're making that it's not, you know, it's almost negligible. You're not really paying attention to it. So you're spending, say, $10 a day, and it's getting you $100 a day in sales. So
right.
Why not?
And the other thing too, what a lot of people don't know at first when they do PPC, and I didn't when I started, is PPC's first purpose is not to get you sales. I'm gonna say it again, everyone. PPC, an ad campaign on Amazon, its number one initial purpose is not to get you sales. It's not supposed to. In fact, your ACOS, your average cost of sale, in other words, how much money you're spending to get how much a sale, it should be really high at the beginning. That's normal. Even if it's 300%, totally normal. Your PPC is to give you what, guys? And I'm curious if anyone can chat me the answer here in the chat box. There's a different reason at the beginning. Now later, will it get you sales? Yes. You spend more money up front, you spend less and less and less money as your expenditures go down because your optimization of your listing goes up. They replace each other. You spend more at first on PPC, it's teaching you something. You guys know what it is? Can someone chat it? I would love to know this. And as it's going down, your listing's getting better and you spend less money, your listing starts ranking organically. It's all about strategy. We have a guy on our team, they call him the PPC King because he is so good at this. And we're very excited because Just One Dime Warriors, this is for you. Very soon we'll be rolling out one-on-ones with the PPC King as an additional coaching if you want to help you with your campaigns. Before I move on, and I forgot to mention this earlier. So Christine, I've been talking with a couple, I'm not gonna share who they are yet. They live in China, in Yiwu. And Yiwu is the largest area for factories. A lot of people think it's Shenzhen or Guangzhou. It's not, it's Yiwu. And I'm probably not pronouncing that 100%. My Mandarin's not really good yet. Xie, thank you very much. But in Yiwu, if you hold a product and it says made in China, chances are around half of them came from that area. This couple is part of Just One Dime. So they've invested, I know them, getting to know them. In fact, I'm so serious about this that I and my business partner are flying to China towards the end of this year to meet them and to visit a bunch of factories. They're going to provide a service to help you find a supplier you can trust, to take pictures for you, like Christine mentioned, send them. So let's say you're looking at selling, I don't know, I really need a different product. I'm sick of showing mugs. How about this? This really cool candle, okay? They can find samples from 5 different factories, take pictures of them, have them shipped to their place, send you the pictures. Then if you want the next tier up, they can ship them to you as well in one box, so you save on shipping. The whole idea, they will help you from the beginning, just the pictures, all the way to checking every box. If you have 2,000 you ordered, they'll look in every box and make sure it's legit before it being shipped. They even help you with customs if you want. There's a ton of value they can offer. We're going to be introducing this in a new bundle as well as for Just One Dime Warriors. But for Just One Dime Warriors, you get a lot more of it than people who are not. Why? To help de-risk you as much as possible. Super excited about that. Having people on the ground in China who can help us. Now, I'm going to check the chat real quick. I want to see if anyone got the answer right. Let me see. Visibility. Harsha, yes, that's true, but there's something else. How to spell the city. Y-I-W-U, Tom. Let's see. Nicholas, Yiwu. I love it. Close, but not quite. Looking at you. That's awesome. Yep. List, sales, comments, awesome, sweet. Keywords. Thank you, Ari. Thank you, Aladdin. Yes. Nick, exactly. Yes, Emilons. Yes, Green Jean. Yes, Jeffrey. Yes, Maritian Jaya. Sorry, it's hard to pronounce your name. Dollar a day fitness. Absolutely. You guys got it. Exactly. It's to get keywords. That's how you optimize your listing. That's the point at the beginning. Okay, now I want to go up a little bit and get a few more questions, and then we're going to close this out, you guys. And, all right, Charlie, I wish you luck with your fart bags, brother. I haven't tried those. Maybe I should check that out. Dave Lumpkin, the cost for the Just One Dime coaching we have different levels. The one I recommend is the Ultimate Bundle. It's $11.97. It's $1,200. It's for a full year. It includes 4.5 hours of live coaching every week, and each coaching session is in a group with someone on video like this talking, answering questions on different topics. And some is just pure raw Q&A. So there's a ton more, and I can share you the link later. But yes, absolutely. I want to go back up. Let's see. Yeah, so Jenny, on the retail arbitrage, you've been doing this for hours, running into barcodes, not coming on the Amazon seller app. Should I buy the garment if I still think I'll make a profit? I would not. I would make sure you have a UPC so it actually shows up so you know it's being sold on Amazon. Because here's the difference between private label and retail arbitrage when you sell it. With retail arbitrage, you're going to list it under a listing already on Amazon. With private label, you're creating a brand new, almost a category, but not a product, a brand new SKU, a brand new listing, UPC, for that product, okay? So retail arbitrage, you're selling off another listing, which is fine. Very different. So it needs to show up. Okay, guys, tons of questions. These are really good. Thank you for asking them. There's so much more we could talk about. And I only got through a third of the questions I want to ask Christine, but I need to go south to meet with a business partner. Christine, do you have any last words of encouragement for people here as far as selling on Amazon, or for those people asking what Just One Dime can do for them?
Absolutely. I can tell you that when I started, I had all the same reservations, all the same concerns. And so I can tell you from the other side of that now that this is real. This is happening. It can happen to you. You can do it too. It's not some fancy made up, it's not a trick, whoever that guy was who said that. It's not a trick, it's for real. And I personally wouldn't want to do this without the Just One Dime group. And I'm not saying that to be markety and schmaltzy. Honestly, getting in that group was the best thing that sustained me through all of the mishaps, the questions, the, oh my gosh, what do I do now? My PPC is, no one's clicking on my PPC. What am I going to do? All of that. And so that, to me, I wouldn't want to do this without that kind of support. So yeah, I hope that if you really want to start your own business with very little money, where there's no limit on your income, I hope that you join Just One Dime and get in here and let's get started, because I love to see people succeed too. And that's part of the fun now of being in the group, is helping other people answer those crazy questions and get moving.
Yeah, so, guys, everyone, it's not just a course, it's a community of people. Like, you become lifetime friends with these people who are all over the world, and they're learning from you, and it's incredible. Either way though, my hope and my goal, as I always say, is that this has helped you guys to succeed. This still resonates with me so much, Christine. I got an email from an 18-year-old kid who's doing $5,000 a month on Amazon just watching videos that we've created. Like, that makes my day right there. Like, just to see, that's just one of the stories, but to be that young, making that much money, just learning online is incredible. All credit and to this guy for just kicking butt. And I know he had to go through a lot of hard times to get there. Everyone, listen, I do this, so that's why I'm sharing this with you. I do the same thing. Your mind will come up with excuses for not succeeding. You will trick yourself into not succeeding. Could be fear, could be I'm not good enough, I don't deserve it, I don't have enough knowledge, someone's gonna screw me over. You have to take those lies, dump them in the sewer and say, no, I can choose to succeed even if it's hard, and it's okay to fail along the way. Please believe that. That belief has helped me so much. Whether or not you're part of Just One Dime, believe that and keep going and don't give up. Life is not easy, but it's fulfilling. And I think if we're just looking for easy, you're never going to be fulfilled. But if you're looking for fulfilling, some days are easy, some days aren't, but you still have a deeper contentment because you're living out your purpose. And that's what I love about the whole Just One Dime community. Christine, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to help other people completely free, just to help them succeed. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
You're welcome. It was great being able to share my story with people.
Awesome. Everyone have an awesome day. I hope some of you guys can join our community. Take care. Bye.